I've mentioned Blaise Pascal in a video or two. Math whiz, science whiz, philosophy whiz, worked a lot with probability. He even built this machine that's kind of like a calculator, sort of like the precursor to our digital computers. But Pascal wasn't just a scientist, he was also deeply religious. When he was 31, he had this powerful, mystical experience of God of some sort. And he wrote about it on a note and kept the note sewn inside his coat for the rest of his life. Now, he died at a very young age, just 39 years old. Shortly after his death, one of his servants found the note inside his coat, which revealed that he started writing about faith there towards the end. So after his death, his notes ended up becoming this famous book. And in this book, you get this argument from Pascal. Now, this argument wasn't about proving that God exists. It was more about why we should live as if Christianity is true. This argument became known as Pascal's wager. And it's for people who aren't sure if Christianity is true or not. It goes something like this. If there's even a chance that Christianity is true, then it makes sense to commit. Why? Because the rewards are huge. Right? If Christianity is true, then following Jesus brings eternal joy, right? A deeper life. And even if Christianity turns out to be false, well, living like a Christian still brings many benefits. Morals, strong community. And science backs this up too. Studies show how religious involvement often improves your overall well-being. Now, as you can imagine, not everyone liked this argument. Maybe you don't like this argument. I don't know. Voltaire said it sounded like gambling and was disrespectful to the topic of God. Another critic said it felt childish to talk about faith like it's some kind of coin toss. But you see, I think people often misunderstand Pascal's argument. Pascal is often made to sound greedy with this argument, all about what he could gain from it and nothing else. So I understand that some people have some real concerns about his argument. You know, should we base beliefs on what's most rewarding to us or just on the cold hard evidence? Are the costs of following God too high for this life, if in the end it turns out to be false? What about the many religions to choose from that are not just Christianity? Right? Those are all good questions. They can't be answered in one video. For now, here's the question I want to focus on. How do we make good choices when we don't know the future? Someone asks, is it going to rain or not today? Let's say the forecasts are mixed, 50-50, 50% chance of rain. Well, you could take an umbrella when you leave for work, or you could not, like I never do. You leave the umbrella at home, well, you could get wet. Maybe a better example, let's say I offer you a bet. Okay, I'm going to flip a coin. If you take the bet, it costs you $1, just $1. If it comes up heads, you get your dollar back plus $2 more. If it's tails, you lose your dollar. You're out $1. If you pass and you don't take the bet, nothing happens. You don't gain or lose anything. So would you take the bet? Okay. Well, there's only two possible outcomes, heads or tails. And you've got two choices. You can play or you can pass. If you play and it's heads, you win $2. If you play and it's tails, you're out $1. If you pass, you win or lose nothing either way. So to give you some technical probability vocabulary here, some statistics, the average gain or loss, the expected value, is 50 cents if you play and 0 if you pass. Since 50 cents is more than 0, taking the bet is the smarter choice. Okay. Now, sometimes we don't need to crunch numbers at all. Sometimes we just need to use some common sense. Okay. For example, I live in a pretty safe neighborhood here in Arkansas, I think. And I've actually been thinking about buying a bike this summer. Now, thankfully, I have a garage to store one in, but let's say I didn't. Let's say I had to keep my bike outside. Do I lock it up? Well, that's a pretty easy thing to do. Costs hardly anything to lock up a bike. And even if the chance of theft is low in my particular neighborhood, well, locking the bike is still the smart move. Okay, here's a situation where when you're unsure, you better choose the option that at least doesn't make things worse, right? And might even make things better. But you see, sometimes the benefit is so big and the cost to us is so small, it's just plainly obvious what you need to do. Like, what if someone offers you $1 million if a coin flip comes up heads, but you only lose $1 if it comes up tails? Well, you'd be foolish not to take that chance, right? So apply all of this to the question at hand. If there's a 50-50 chance that Christianity is true, then when it comes to following Jesus, if you're right, you gain everything. If you're wrong, you still live a meaningful and moral life. Right? So this is more than about just faith. This is about reason, logic, common sense. Living a Christian life is a smart move. That's what Pascal was getting at. It wasn't a trick. It wasn't a gamble, his argument. It's a wise response to uncertainty. So if you're currently wondering whether or not Christianity might be true and whether Jesus was who he said he was, then maybe it's time you consider taking that next step, taking a deeper dive into all of this.